Hi, and welcome to All Things Rex. I'm your host, Rex Sykes, and this is the Los Angeles Tribune TV network. And I've got a fabulous guest for all of you today. I know you're going to be excited. He's a former professional baseball player, as well as a very successful businessman. And it's my pleasure to bring him onto the show today. And his name is Mr. Jay Nolan. So I'm going to bring Jay on right away so we can get going.
Hey.
There he is. How you doing today, Jay?
I'm doing phenomenal. Just set that out and spread the word about our conversation today, Rex. I'm honored to be here sharing this space with you, sir.
It's an honor to be with you as well, sir. Now, let me also say that you and the CEO, the publisher, the owner of the Los Angeles Tribune created a clubhouse group called the One Percenters Only. And can you talk a little bit about that? I want to go into your background in a little bit, but the One Percenters Only, we may have a lot of people watching from there. And so as a result, can you tell us what that means? Because a lot of people think, one percenters means something else.
Yeah, Rex, and that's really what, Mo and I wanted to do. We wanted to have people think and to inquire and ask questions. So rather than the 1% being about just a financial or money thing, and there's only 1% of the population controlling most of the wealth, which is true. That's not our angle. We're not here saying, hey, we're these 1% of the people controlling the wealth. We're here to say, let's activate at least 1% of the population to start making an impact, making a difference, and actually just making a change. I was just doing a little bit of studies about some outreach projects that we're about to do. And I was just shocked to find out that 153 million orphans are walking around on this earth right now. 153 million. And it's estimated that every day, 5,700 more children become orphans, Rex. And so when I read that, it just blew me away. But it's really the reason behind some of the core things we do in the One Percenters is like, how can that be? How can it be 150 plus million kids walking around orphaned, no mom, no dad, and them not being taken care of? Well, the reason that that's the case is because we're all separated. There's so much discord, there's so much division, there's so much arguing and fighting and keeping us distracted. So we want to activate at least 1% of the population. That gives us around 80 million people. And with 80 million people, we don't have to have 150 million children out walking around on the streets. It's that simple. There's enough money there between just those 1%ers to take care of these kids.
That is absolutely beautiful. And I know that you and your lovely wife are very much involved with charities around the world and what you do for children in other countries.
Yeah. If you go over to backtobackforkids.com, backtobackforkids.com, or backtobackprojects.com, you will find out some of the core things that we love to put our support behind. Having an orphanage school in Kenya, Africa, that we've been supporting since 2009. Thousands of kids have now come through that orphanage school, and we've been able to help a lot of them get out, be self-dependent, self-reliant. And the biggest thing that they were able to feel through the course of them working with our school there was they were able to feel love. They were able to get a meal. They were able to get education. And again, the biggest thing, we were able to really touch them with love so they don't become bitter. Can you imagine not having a mom or a dad, which most people can't? It's going to be a love factor that has to be dealt with there, Rex.
Wow. Well, that's truly amazing. Can you tell people who are watching right now, if they're interested in helping or in being part of this One Percenters Only movement, how they can get involved? Because this is absolutely a worthwhile endeavor and a cause.
Yeah, as far as the socially responsible and the socially conscious projects, if you go over to backtobackforkids.com, or actually if you go to backtobackprojects.com, then you can see where not only we're helping children and supporting there, but also helping battered women. So you think about battered women and children. Also helping abused animals. We're working on that right now. Also helping with environmental projects. That's coming up. So, this earth at the rate that we're going at, we got to do something. In 1950, if you just think about 1950 to now, so about 70 years, watch what's happened. The population of the earth in 1950 was about 1.5 billion people. So now we're approaching 8 billion people in just 70 years. So if we don't take care of our earth, who's going to take care of it? So with all this population that's going on, who's going to do something about it? And so you don't have to be freaking out about all these stories going around about there's these upper elites trying to depopulate the earth. Well, what if we took care of the earth? We wouldn't have to worry about things like that. So we just want to bring that to your attention. Look at that. That is unbelievable. That exponential growth. I just don't think we can sustain that if we don't do a great job of taking care of the earth. So the 1%ers, if you go over to Clubhouse, you can look us up at the 1%ers only club, and you can request to join. You can check out our rooms. We do rooms throughout the week, at least a couple times per week. Right now, we're doing Tuesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll run like that for the next month or so, but check it out. This is all about what do you want to do? This is all about if you're listening to us here today, what do you want to do with what you're hearing? Most people just kind of pass by, but I want to encourage you not to just pass by. I want to encourage you to get involved. And if you plug in with us, and you can also become a part of our Facebook group. We got a free Facebook fan page. If you go over to the1percenters.club, you can get plugged in and get invited into the free fan page.
Oh, that's awesome. That is truly awesome. And before we get into your background and how you got to where you are today, I'd like to say it's interesting because there are those who would divide us and who would try to hold us down or hold us back. And very few things come from division that are good. I'm not saying that there's never a purpose for division, but people talk about, taking the wealth from the 1% and distributing it, and they have, political names for this and all sorts of stuff. My argument has always been, you don't get people better off by dividing the pie. You have to make more pies. And what you're talking about and what you're doing and what you're creating, this movement is how do we make more pies so that more people are taken care of and everybody can live better off as a result of that. It's not taking what we have and dividing it. It's actually exponentially multiplying it. That makes a huge difference for people. And the same thing is true about our inner awareness and our inner being. It's not what we, trying to eliminate these problems in our life. It's how we rise up in our mind and in our heart and our behaviors to overcome challenges in our life. So that said, I certainly want you to comment if you agree or disagree. But with that said, then I do want to turn my attention as to who is Mr. Jay Noland, who is speaking these things.
Man, I'm just a small town country boy, man. I'm from a small town in Kentucky, Winchester, Kentucky, born in 1968. I was actually born about a month after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. I was born in the South. So there was a lot of racial tension, a lot of racial struggle going on. And me growing up in that environment, it's really amazing to just kind of watch the progression over these past 53 years on this earth. I've got to say that we got to do better. For example, I've been called the N-word every decade of my life. So we know we have a racial problem. As successful as I've been, coming from a small town, growing up, my grandfather had a hog farm about 10 miles outside of the town. We run between 75 to 150 pigs, hogs, we call them at any one time. Chickens, guineas, cows, you name it. So we, gardening, we lived off the land primarily. But for me to progress from that, for me to go to school like everybody else, grades 1 through 12. When my parents got divorced when I was 9, my dad moved to Florida. I finished my last 2 years of high school in Florida. got a scholarship, played baseball in college, actually played baseball and basketball in college, had a dual scholarship, and love the picture of the hogs. That looks very familiar. You ought to try to get those pigs when that mother's around if you need to move those pigs somewhere. You want to talk about, people ask how I got so fast. So it's from running from those big sows. But to come from that and to progress and have an opportunity to get a scholarship and then get drafted by the San Diego Padres, playing professional baseball for 6.5 years. There goes some of my picks coming up through the professional farm system. So I had a lot of baseball cards made going through the system there. So, watching that happen, but then looking, no matter how successful I've become, we still have had a racial divide, primarily in this country, United States of America. But I just kept going, man. I kept going. I kept building. I started having to learn how to do business after I got injured in 1995. And so, getting involved, you saw a picture there of the studio's production. So started learning how to produce media and, put together a very, very incredible production team involved in coffees and teas and nutraceuticals around the globe. I personally have spoke in 20 countries, maybe more, around the world to the hundreds of thousands of people over these past 25 years. And I've just been blessed to be able to do that. But we got to do better. Because everywhere I go around the world, the one common denominator is people want to have a better life for themselves and especially for their families. People want to be happy. And it's hard to be happy with so much discord. So I want to encourage everyone that's hearing me today, hearing us on this incredible Rec Psych show, to do better, to be intentional, to pull together. All you got to do is get one person, one person, to do something about something. That's it. Be the person that does something that makes a difference. Be that one person. Can you do that? Can you love on somebody a little bit more than you've loved on them? Can you let them know that you're not all about just you getting what you got to get? Let's go help other people get what they got to get. So that's what I got to say about that, Rex. Is that's a little bit about me, and hopefully that gives you a little deeper insight.
That's awesome. It truly is awesome. And I'm a firm believer that right now we are on the precipice of something very great. We are in a process of awakening. Now, that doesn't mean that everything is rosy at the moment, or that everything is right, or that everything's going to be utopian once we wake up. But it does mean that we are addressing issues for the first time in different ways, or hopefully in more positive ways than we have in the past. Now, at the very same time that there's a great movement toward awakening, there's the equal and opposite cause and effect, response, where there's a great move to try and keep people asleep and disinformed and downtrodden. So these will always be that way, in the same way that there's night and day, or hot and cold, or tall and short. There's these opposites that are at effect. But we are what appears to be in the process of overcoming a lot of inertia. We have lived so blind in so many ways to so many things: race inequality, gender inequality, financial inequality, the borders and issues about migrants and immigrants and territorialism and all sorts of things. These orphans that you talk about, the fact that there are displaced children around the world, or the fact that we've got a pandemic that's going on and that's raging, and people can't decide one way or the other what they want to do about it. And it seems that there's a great amount of confusion that's going on, and there is. But at the same time, I liken it to before water boils. It gets really, really noisy because all the atoms are bouncing around. And once it turns to steam at 212 degrees, it goes into a slow rolling boil, and the steam is released. There's this transformation, and it quiets down. And so I liken where we're at right now to with the discord and the disharmony and the what seems to be cataclysmic issues and problems, to that right before we wake up, or right before the steam happens, and so we're in this process, and all we need to do is go through the process. If we quit, it won't become steam, the transformation. Right. So it's an opportunity to awaken. By the way, before I throw this back to you, I want to welcome all of the people who are listening live, leaving comments. Thank you so much for being here. I invite you to share this live, or if you're watching this recorded, hit like buttons wherever you're watching it. Share this, subscribe wherever you can, and further this program and Jay's work and what we do here at All Things Rex and the Los Angeles Tribune forward, so that other people too can benefit. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to be here and to share with us. And thank you, Ashley, for that, and Cindy and Sharon and all the different people who have chimed in. And so, Jay, when you left baseball, let's go there for a second. You left baseball and you went into business. Well, how did you? Because you're a mover and shaker. I've known you for a while now, and you move and you shake and you make all sorts of things happen. And you're no stranger to hard work. But how did you? Where did you develop your mindset, your attitude, the things that have propelled you forward, and how did you do that? And tell us a little bit more about you and your background.
Starts with my grandfather, I believe. I think my grandfather had the most impression on me in my life, and my grandmother. My parents, my mom had me when she was 19 years of age, so they were learning about being adults. My mom and dad. I kind of went through an experiment with my parents. So my grandparents were those solid folks there. But my granddad really believed that in me. My grandmother believed in me. They said I could do anything. And then I got around some great coaches. Coach Johnson. When I got in junior high school, Coach Johnson, he was a very tough coach. And he made us tough. As 13 and 14-year-old kids in junior high school, I bet you we had to be some of the toughest kids walking around. I got to show you a quote one day that somebody posted on my Facebook about how hard I hit somebody one time. It made them choke, made them swallow their mouthpiece. But he made us so tough, man. We were like hornets just going around just banging. And that mentally, if I got to go back and go, okay, what's my foundation to toughness? It's going to be Coach Johnson. And then as I progressed and got out in business, I had some great coaches. Bruce Bochy, which is going to soon be a Hall of Famer. So Bruce Bochy, gotta give a big shout out to him. Why Bruce Bochy? He won 3 World Series titles with the San Francisco Giants. Well, he was my coach with the Padres as we were coming up. And he had a major influence on my life. So Bruce Bochy, the way he handled himself, the way he stayed calm under pressure. And so he's really helped me. I was able to grab that. But then I had these women mentors. Then when I got out into business, I had like 4 key women mentors. And they really impacted me in a big way. And it really inspired me between my grandmother and them to write a book that I'm about to release. As a matter of fact, it's for pre-sale now on Amazon, which is The Power of a Woman from the Perspective of Real Men. It is now available for pre-sale. Actually, we were going to start marketing tomorrow, but I'm making that announcement here exclusively on the Rex Sikes Show on the Los Angeles Tribune. You guys are hearing it first. It's available for pre-order. Will be launched September the 13th. We'll go live September the 13th. So I was inspired, man, by all these phenomenal people. And especially as I started getting into my real adult years, there goes the book. Get ready for that book. It's going to be powerful. And Les Brown wrote the foreword in that book. He was so impressed by the book. But you know what? That's really what shaped me. And I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference in this world. Did you know, speaking of statistics and the book coming out, one of my big inspirations, does everyone know, listening to me, that approximately 137 women are murdered every day around the world by a family member? 137 women murdered, killed by a family member, not a stranger. If we bring those statistics in, it's going to make it go through the roof. But by a family member? So I want to empower. I want to help to empower women, help to bridge a gap, help men come in and understand they don't have to be intimidated. They don't have to be threatened. We got to work together equally to be able to do the right thing. Look at these statistics. Women more likely to be killed by partners or relatives. This is crazy. So we got to bring this stuff to an end. And it's shows like this, Rex, you put it on, asking these questions, bringing these things out of people like myself and other people that want to stand up for what's right. We got to make it happen. So go pre-order the book. Go share the book. It's available on Amazon for pre-order. The Power of a Woman from the Perspective of Real Men. Check it out. Over to you, Rex.
I am so glad you brought it up because I was going to ask you about the book. So the timing was perfect. Thank you so much. And again, I encourage our watchers, our viewers to share this show and share Jay's book and his information, because it's truly about changing the world. And we can do it one by one by hitting the people closest to us, our family, our friends, the people we're in contact with. Certainly you can share it on social media and otherwise, but, add value to the people around you. I want to piggyback on what you said, because I think it's important. I'm also a professional actor by trade too, and right. There is no shortage of professional actors or professional athletes who don't understand. By the way, there was a movie I did called Full Circle where I played a priest. I am not a priest in real life. I don't dress like that. I don't dress like that to go out. So. But the point I'm making is that I bet you would agree with this. There's not a single professional athlete who doesn't know the value of a coach. There's not a single professional actor who's worth anything who doesn't understand the value of an acting coach or a performance coach. Speakers know the value of a speaking coach. Business people know and financial people know the value of a business coach. I, like yourself, have been surrounded by powerful women from the time I was young. My primary acting coaches, almost all of them were women. Some are men, certainly, but all of them are women. And the one who most profoundly affected me is a very powerful woman who's passed away, but God love her. And I learned stage hypnosis from one of the top female stage hypnotists back in the early 80s, and things. So there's the value of a mentor, the value of a coach, is the value of people, men or women, is just something that is lost on a lot of people. People come to you and me, or they want to do workshops or programs sometimes, or they're curious or they're dabblers, but they don't understand how important it is to have someone who can guide you and help shape you and help tell you what to do and what not to do when it comes to stepping forward and moving forward.
Rex, I got messages coming in. When I look off to the side, people are sending messages about this show today. They're just fired up. So,
yes.
And I'm like, okay. We're trying to get it. I mean, I think Rex, what you're saying, how you're saying it, the mannerism that you have, we just can't take you for granted. I told you this from the first day I talked to you, Rex Sykes. I told you that this world needed to have you more elevated up on a higher platform. There we go. Master trainer, Rex Sykes. He went out, he helped. Rex, can I say that you helped pioneer the NLP movement?
Sure.
Yeah, see?
Contributed in numerous ways. Yes, okay.
Okay, so he helped. See, think about that. But look what just happened. He didn't want to take it. Rex didn't want to take it for himself because he ain't about himself. So that's why people like Rex. Let me ask you a question, team, family, everybody watching this. What if we had somebody with the demeanor of a Rex Sykes helping run the country, being involved in politics? Would it be better? Could we get more common ground with that mentality? Yes, and yes. And so I just want to applaud you for having the courage to be you, no matter what, Rex. That's what I've learned about you from the day I met you. Thank you. I love you for that.
And right back at you, my brother. It's so awesome to know you. And this will sound foreign to some listeners, and it'll fit right in with others. I wake up every day and I go, I am thankful for Jay Noland and Mo Rock and all of these different people who I am surrounded by and my friends. And I literally list, names of people, but I do so much appreciate the association I have, and it's the universe brings people together at the right time for the right reasons. It's the right purpose. So just like now, I believe the right people are watching the show, who are going to watch the show. The right people will come to you or I in programs and workshops or to work with us, because that's what it's about. You put it out there, you have the energy, you have the you have the high vibe, and the right people find you. And the people who aren't ready, they go their ways, and that's totally cool. It's totally cool.
Right. Well, I'm pumped about what we're doing. Oh, we got Mo, not just U.S. president, world president. What do y'all say, Mo?
Is that what it says? Oh my gosh.
World president, but hey, a world president. Somebody's got their head on straight. No, I'm loving this conversation, Rex. And I love the platform of the Los Angeles Tribune. And being able to circulate this out through ROKU TV. It's just a new way of doing things, a new way of media. And I want to give honor and respect to Mo Rock, the CEO of the Los Angeles Tribune, because Mo is the maverick of media. I want y'all to look me in the eyes when I say this. He is the maverick of media. Why? Because Mo is thinking cutting edge. Mo is thinking about the people. Most media sources are not thinking about the people. Mo's thinking about the people. Mo's thinking about elevating, bringing people up. Look, you wouldn't have a Rex Sykes show if it wasn't for a Mo Rock.
Absolutely.
So how beautiful is it for us to be able to have access to Rex Sykes? Look at all the people that's coming on board here that Dr. Natalie and Mo have been able to cultivate and bring together. That people that that are phenomenal what they're doing. But most of these powerhouses, because they're selfless, because they're not politically motivated, because they're not kissing nobody's ass, if you don't mind me saying, but they're speaking the truth. Well, guess what? They're not going to get on mainstream, what you would call, quote, mainstream gossip media. They have to come into what I call real mainstream media, which is what the Los Angeles Tribune is forging through with. That's why I support and back and root on and encourage. And you see me getting fired up about this right now. Look at that. We got something up on here. We got Roku. We got everything going on.
Yeah, I so concur with you. I mean, it takes a pioneer to understand, that the opportunity exists to put together some of the brightest and most positive, powerful people that one can find and put them on a network together and give them shows, give them platforms, and elevate the consciousness of everyone by allowing people to express their views and think freely and be exposed to things that they otherwise probably wouldn't be exposed to through normal media channels. I mean, that truly just does take forward thinking and not only forward thinking, but a wonderful heart.
Well, we love you back, Ashley. We appreciate that love and respect.
Absolutely.
And we just want to keep bringing the truth. I'm glad you got me here. I'm glad we're having this conversation, Rex.
I am too. And you know what? We are. Oh, look at that. We have a transformational workshop coming up. I didn't expect that at this moment, but why don't you talk a little bit about this? This is something that you and Mo and I are doing together. So, Jay, why don't you take some time and share with our audience what this is all about?
In just one weekend, you can have a transformation. That's why we're calling this the transformation event. Now, let's make sure you understand the power of this. Take somebody's brain like a Rex Sykes and his experience, and then ask him to not get distracted for one weekend, not take phone calls, not get on Clubhouse, none of that. For one weekend, take a Rex Sykes masterful genius brain and say, pour into me, Rex, and help me transform. Take a Mo Rock, the CEO of the Los Angeles Tribune. Take his brain, take his ingenuity, take his strategies, and say, one weekend, would you please not be distracted, Mr. Mo Rock? Would you please just pour into me for an entire weekend? Then take myself for 25 years of history, of training people, hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million globally. So go ahead and take me and all the people I've trained and all the systems I put together. And now you combine this. You combine all three of these master minds, and then we say, okay, let's help you get more out of less time in 2 days than it would take most people in an entire 3 years. That's how I'm equating this event. My portion is geared, and I've asked Rex to do the same. I've asked Mo to do the same. Take and condense 3 years worth of growth, personal growth energy, and let's combine that into 48 hours, into 2 days, and let's see what we can create. Now, y'all tell me what y'all think that's worth. Whenever I do those, I mean, you're talking about when we priced it out, when we were real, we're not BSing, it's 10 grand minimum. $10,000. If you go to jnolanmastery.com right now and you click on one-on-one coaching or training, if you want 3 sessions of 1 hour, okay, 10 grand. Guess what? I don't even open it up to let people pay me because I don't have the time. I don't have time right now. I don't have the time. So I'm going to make this time, and Rex will even tell you, now we're getting ready to start promoting. This is one of the big promotional times and moments that we talked about a few months ago. Now we're going in. I don't have the time. I'm launching 3 new divisions at the same time right now that I consider multi-million-dollar divisions. Rex is busy with his business. Mo is busy with his multi-million-dollar business. This thing, we're busy. But us to say time out and pour into you $10,000 that we're charging you for us 3 to take our brains. But what we're saying for a limited time, we'll knock off 70%. 70% off, but you got to get plugged in now. So if you go over to the1percenters.club/transform, the1percenters.club/transform, you can get 70% off of training that will jump you ahead 3 years in personal growth. That's how strong we believe about this training. So you need to get ready, get braced, get your tickets. the1percenters.club/transform. Get yourself locked in. We've already sold tickets. We got minimal seats. We're not going to have where it's unlimited seats. There's only a short amount of seats because we want to do hands-on with this event and make this legendary. Rex, what do you got to say about it?
I'm thrilled and I'm looking forward to it. I always love transformational events, transformational opportunities for people to jump in, dive in, and have an experience of something that they might not have otherwise had, and to be partnered up with you and Mo to bring this to people is just absolutely thrilling. But I agree with you. They need to jump in now. They need to make a commitment. They need to drop what they're doing and go to that website and check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to be masterfully weaving you through 6 pillars of your life. Your financial, your emotional, your social, your mental, your spiritual, your physical, all 6 pillars. Meticulously getting you to stop and think. I can't wait, man. I'm telling you.
I know.
Here's the thing, because I know it's going to be a push on my body and on my energy. You know what, Rex, it's going to be a push. It's going to push us to have to go and get into the trenches. But you know what? I can't wait to hear the stories coming out of 30, 60, 90 days coming out of that sucker. I can't wait. the1percenters.club/transform. What else we got for this show, Rex?
That is so awesome. I really appreciate that. And one of the things that we need to do actually right now is we'll have that up here for a second, but then we're going to have to take a break to acknowledge the Los Angeles Tribune, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more. So,
hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We've earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And there we have it. The Los Angeles. I'm so grateful to the LA Tribune for asking me if I wanted to do the show and having this opportunity to talk with you today. And what I and there and Barry Shore. So I had lots of great guests, and Barry has got a new show coming up on a monthly basis, and Dr. Laura has one, and Dr. Natalie. I mean, there's so many great people.
Dr. Laura, one of my champions, one of my heroes.
Absolutely. And there's Dr. Natalie, and I recently talked to Jeremy McDonald, who has a show on there he is, the Storytelling Alchemist. So this is very cool. And Goldie is coming up. She's got her. Just beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful opportunity. And one of these days, I'm going to have Mo Rock here, and we're going to be talking with Mo. So this is exciting as well. So Jay, let me ask you, because you bring up the workshop, but you also brought up the fact that there are displaced children, there are women who are murdered, there are things going on. We talked about this great awakening. In your estimation, because you have traveled, you have dealt with hundreds of thousands of people. What do you think holds most people back, or what have you seen that holds most people back, where they're not ready to commit? And how do they make a breakthrough so that they stop perpetuating the old stuff and start doing something new that can actually transform their life?
Well, you got to go heal your subconscious mind. You got to start. Most people want to start with 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start with 0. Let's start with the foundation first. And so I had to learn what was running me. And what I found out that was running me was my subconscious mind. That from 0 to 7, the greatest impressionable time of your entire existence is from 0 to 7 years of age. And what happens to us from 0 to 7, in most cases, impacts us for the rest of our life. Now, my son, who is 6, I've been pumping into him and his subconscious mind from the time I first knew that my wife was pregnant with him. And I saw his little heartbeat on the screen. When I saw that heartbeat and I started talking to him through his mama's belly, I was working on helping program him to be a powerhouse, giving, loving, confident human being that makes an impact in this world. Now, if you're around my son, you're going to notice he has those attributes of all those things that I just mentioned. And so if you didn't have that growing up, which most of you listening to me, you went through trauma. All of us, at some time or another, I'd say 90 plus, 95, 99% of the population in the world goes through some type of trauma, even 0 to 7. So Aristotle said, the great philosopher says, give me a child until they are 7, and I will show you the man, or I will show you the adult. Why did he say that? Why did he say, give me a child until they're 7, and then I'm going to show you what the adult's going to be? Because he knew from 0 to 2, actually from the womb to 2, he knew that you're operating in a delta state, that the brain wave lengths are moving at between 0 to 4 hertz per second. He knew it. There goes my boy right there. There's my son. Yeah, Kai. He knew that those brain waves are just moving, and that's a very healing and growing state. And then from 2 to 7 is when you move to a theta state, to where you're really absorbing, but you're kind of like in a trance state. That's why when we ask most of you, or us, or me, hey, what were you doing when you were 3 or 4? Do you remember that? And you're like, I don't really remember. But you were living, you were doing, you were being. Why don't you remember? Because you were basically into a trance. What was happening to you during that trance state of your life is you were being programmed. And so I literally got intentional about this because I learned to master the principles in Think and Grow Rich. So much so I wrote the foreword in a Napoleon Hill Foundation backed Think and Grow Rich book. So I helped write the foreword in one. So I mastered those principles. And then I said, but that's really not enough for people, because see, most people, when you go through the Think and Grow Rich principles, if you hone in, and Rex can tell you this, if you go beast mode on auto suggestion and you really start talking to yourself, especially 2 times a day, right when you're first waking up, you're in a theta state, brainwave state. Your brain's between 4 to 8 hertz per second wavelength. Right before you're about to go to sleep, you're not going to know you're going to sleep. That's why a lot of folks put on headphones and then they put on things that are talking to their brain. So I created a program called ConfidenceTones.com that utilizes the power of binaural beats, solfeggio tones, and also isochronic tones. So we combine the 3, which I don't know anybody who's doing this combination, along with using the principles of auto-suggestion, so suggestibility, and we use the power of NLP, combining it all together to help you induce, not just when you sleep, but any time. So we utilize our trademark technology, audio immersion, which gives you 4 different phases of technology at one time to just help influence you. Now, the feedback we've gotten from Confidence Tones is off the charts. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I got to make a what do you call it? A declaration or admission?
A disclaimer?
No, I ain't no disclaimer here. I got to disclose something here.
There you go.
Okay. So Rex, I made these first for me. My dad shot himself when I was 7. And I was close by, and he lived through it. My mother, she left and abandoned me when I was 8. It's hard to blame her because my dad was crazy enough to shoot himself. So during those traumatic years, remember I said from 0 to 7, so me right there in 7 or 8, I got my dad shooting himself, I got my mom leaving me. And so that's had an impact on me. It had an impact for years. And so I hear some chains ringing in the background. So for years, I literally didn't know what was going on. So then I learned about brain wave entrainment, to entrain the brain, brain wave entrainment, how to help utilizing the power of sound frequencies, put it on a set of headphones, and to help train myself. So I literally worked with experts, with sound experts and engineers, and we created a program within Confidence Tones. And the first part of that is called Foundation. And it's a 21-day series, 21 days. And in those 21 days, you go through 3 sets of 7. Now check this out. Just 11 minutes per day. And if you feel like you've really been traumatized, like I went through, do it twice, 11 minutes per day. When you wake up, when you're going to bed, just put some headphones on. And then what happens is we take you through a deep restore for the first 7 days. The next 7 days, we take you through an entering phase. Now you're beginning to enter subconsciously into greatness is what the purpose of that. And then the last 7 days is where you go to elevate. And you go, I'm going to the next level. And now I can really embrace. I'm telling you personally, for me, I was able to use that technology to actually heal my personal pain, internal pain. I was able to forgive my dad, to forgive my mom, which I hadn't quite done for years. It was decades. And through the power of that program that I created for me, I turned around and said, what if everybody else was able to have access to this? Would this help? And now we put it in the marketplace, and we haven't even marketed it hard at all. This is the most I really kind of went in and talked about it. But I would suggest everybody go to ConfidenceTones.com right now. Get yourself some tones, get the package. And guess what? I'm so confident. We've been so confident. We just do 100% money back guarantee. You go through the whole thing. You don't like it, we'll give you money back. That's how powerful we believe in that technology, Rex. Thank you for allowing me to share my heart there. That's what I feel about it, Rex. Maybe I talked too long. I don't know. Can't hear you, Rex. Sorry about that.
The cool thing about you, Jay, is that you know your heart is in the right place. You are working to help other people, and for it to come from something that you did for yourself, I think that's oftentimes the case. I mean, in other words, it's kind of physician heals herself, and then you could go help take care of other people. So I'm glad that you shared it. I'm glad that you let people know that there are tools and the tools that you have and that you share with people. So yeah, go check it out. Go check it out. That's really, really awesome. Awesome. And this is also why people are going to want to do the workshop with us, because of the combined years, the decades of experience and the know-how and the areas of what we're putting together and what we're going to do and how we're going to help people transform their lives and shape their futures and discover how truly beautiful the present is. A lot of people, sacrifice the present for the future. And I'm one who believes that, I put it this way, when you're driving your car, you know where you want to go. That's in the back of your mind. You know where you want to go, but you have to pay attention to where you are driving. Now, some of it you drive consciously, and a lot of it you drive, subconsciously, unconsciously. I mean, it's a habit that you have for driving, but you want to pay attention to what's going on. So when the stoplight changes, you stop, and whether you need to make a turn here or there. So you're actually focused on your present while getting yourself into the future. You're taking care of the present and moving into your future at the very same time. Now, the rear view mirror is there so you can check and just make sure there's nothing bad behind you, but it's not there for you to drag your past with you. You can't drive forward looking, in the rear view mirror for any length of time. And so this should be an analogy and a metaphor for people to understand that the past is gone. It's no longer, relevant, really. So learn how to release, let go, and free yourself from the past and stop perpetuating those things that keep you stuck or hold you back. Live in the present with gratitude and love and compassion and the relationships that you have, and enjoy the world, because it's going to go away someday for all of us, And as you do that, we create our future, and we make, more and more enjoyment with people. So, it's a pleasure to be able to talk with you here today and to have you share your knowledge and your expertise and your developments. I love the fact you and I are huge Napoleon Hill fans, and we both have taught on Napoleon Hill and talk about him all the time. And so, I love it. It's birds of a feather flocking together. It's that kind of thing where you, at the right time, you meet the right people who inspire and uplift and edify each other. And so that truly is you, Jay Nolan, and I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward, we've got more time here, but I'm looking forward to your book that's coming out. I'm looking forward to our program together. I'm looking forward to people checking out the Confidence Stones and all the good things that I write here and right now. And the 1%ers.
Matter of fact, we got a club coming up tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 6 p.m. Going to be an interesting topic. I know Dr. Laura is going to love the topic tonight. Right?
This is true.
It's going to be fun. Wow, look at that. What an absolute phenomenal picture. But we got a 1%ers only club happening tonight. The topic is going to be, does your business drive match? Does your business drive match your sex drive, or vice versa?
It's a great question and a great topic. And for those who are watching the repeat, know that this was on a live stream with Jay saying it. So that will not be there. But in the meantime, for those listening live, they can share it. They can spread the word right now and let other people know about the club coming up tonight. They can also share this show. This show streams not only on the Los Angeles Tribune Facebook page live, where you can comment and ask questions, which is what you see people doing. It also is on the Los Angeles Tribune YouTube channel. It's on my LinkedIn profile. It's on Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, and wherever else I'm not. Oh, Dion is here. That is Dion, brother Dion. That's fantastic. As well as available on ROKU TV. And so they're in the Los Angeles Tribune will tell you also where else you can watch the show. But go ahead, share, hit the like buttons, spread the word about what's going on, spread the word about the charities and the work that Jay is doing too, to help women in the world and orphans in the world, and just so many different wonderful things.
Beautiful.
So what would you like to, if you had one thing that you wanted to say, and that we've got about 10 minutes left, but if you had one topic that you really want to address that speaks to your heart right now, Jay, in terms of what people might or could experience, or something that's on your soul, what would you like to share about this transformational process?
I think that's it's important. If you're listening, you got to make a decision. You've got a 14,000 hour dilemma you're dealing with that I didn't even know was bestowed upon me. I did a video on it years back, and I put it on the YouTube channel. It's called the 14,000 hour dilemma. Grades 1 through 12. If you add up all those hours, it comes out to about 14,000 hours. Now, if you spend 14,000 hours doing anything, you should be great at it. But during those 14,000 hours, what I ask people to do is just go back and take some inventory of what did you learn that you are using now. This is great. 14,000 hours. Amazing. So what did you learn that you're using now? So after you learn how to read, you learn how to write, you learn how to do arithmetic. Once you learn and you get that down solid, how much more of that stuff did you really need? So for example, America was discovered in when? And who discovered America? And then when you start going through those things, you start figuring out all these lies that were told to us about who even discovered America. You go, hell, Columbus didn't discover America. He came here, somebody shook his hand. That'd be like me going over to Rex's house and him shaking my hand and go, oh, I discovered your house. That'd be crazy. Can
I interrupt a second?
Please.
My father's family came over on the Mayflower. And when my father discovered that, he was so delighted. He went to his coffee clutch group of women and said, turns out my family came over on the Mayflower. And one of the women said, and my family was here to greet yours. She was a Native American. And after my dad died, this woman told me this story with just a gleam in her eye about how she had said, yep, we were here first. So you're right.
And so I'm a third Cherokee Indian. So my mom's half Cherokee. So that really hit me because I've got ancestors that were here.
Yeah.
And I think if you say, well, what do we do to make these we got to get real. We got to stop lying to ourselves and lying to other people. We got to stop. We need to respect people. We need to honor people. Like, for example, how do we heal this nation? I like what South Africa did years ago. And then I think they kind of fell away from it because they put together like a treaty. There was a reconciliation, which was an admission of the harms of the past. And so until you humble yourself, which I believe as a nation here in the USA, we've been having a hard time doing, just humble. If we would just humble ourselves, if the leaders would just humble themselves and say, you know what, we made some mistakes, man. We made some mistakes and we want to make it a better day. We want to make it a better way. But when people come up to me and say, oh, that was stuff that the ancestors did. There it is. Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Healing our past. That went a long way to cooling down all that tension in South Africa. It went a long way. We need something similar, in my opinion, to happen here in the United States of America so that people have an opportunity to be able to actually heal. We haven't healed. As a people, we haven't healed. And what's happening is most of us that are going through this life, especially in the United States of America, you're going through the distractions. You're going through the distractions. So you're not even given an opportunity to pay attention to what's critical. That's why I'm going to reiterate shows like this on the Los Angeles Tribune, going through ROKU TV, like a Rex Sykes, like Mr. Mo Rock providing this. It gives you an opportunity to hear some truth. When you hear some truth, then you have an opportunity to make a decision to humble yourself and say, maybe I didn't have it all right. Maybe I was misled. And now we can move forward. There's nothing wrong with saying I made a mistake. there's everything wrong with not admitting a mistake. That's how I feel, Rex.
Well, no, I am a huge, and I know you are too, and I know Mo is, I'm a huge proponent of personal responsibility and accountability. I love the old Harry S. Truman, the buck stops here, and yet so few people live with that principle, behind them. And because it takes backbone, it takes courage, it takes a willingness to be wrong, number one, and then to admit to being wrong and to say, you know what, my bad, I'm sorry, I apologize. And yet, as people, whether it's family or friends or even strangers, what could be better than the acknowledgement of, you know what, I was wrong. I made a mistake, and I'm willing to make amends. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to set this right, because I value you and I want to be able to connect with you in a meaningful way.
Oh, that's why you and we connect like that.
Right.
Even if we have differences of opinions on some things, man, I don't mess with Rex. He doesn't mess with me. I don't mess with Mo. Mo doesn't mess with me. We are true blue, authentic, real men who we don't have any problem. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, man. If I hurt you, I hurt you. I'm sorry. I don't mean. If I said anything to hurt anybody, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a pain in your life. So would you please forgive me and let me learn from it? At the same time, will you please respect my viewpoints and honor them? And then everybody, all of a sudden, they start talking like that. Now we got something we can work with.
Well, I do, and I agree with you. And I do think that so much would change in the world, because so much would change in an individual's life the second that they make the decision that I am responsible for everything. I create my experience, I create the world, I create my perceptions. Whether it's true or not doesn't really matter. If you take that mantle on and live from that, live from that code, we talk about ninja code and gladiator code and the knight code and, all these different kinds of codes. I am responsible. Say I'm responsible for everything that happens in my life. Does one thing powerfully that nothing else does, and it puts you right in the driver's seat of your life.
Yes.
Because if you're blaming people, if you're making excuses, if you're whining, if you're complaining, if you're saying it's their fault, somebody else did it, then you're living as a victim and not as a victor. And I'm huge on the champion mindset, as I know that you are. Yes. And the problem with us is that we have literally so many people who live as victims. Yeah. And they're willing to live as victims because they don't decide to live otherwise. And that could be because they don't know. And that's why I think we're at on the brink, this precipice of a great awakening, because there are so many. That's great. That's great. I love it.
Right.
I always say dog shit or diamonds. It's one or the other. You have to make a choice. And a lot of people live, picking dog shit. They just don't understand that their life could be incredibly better. And here's the other thing. If you're going to make your life better, then help make somebody else's life better. Because when you make somebody else's life better, your life gets better too. And I know you live from that, because you are involved in so many incredible offerings and charities and movements and
absolutely, man. I'm doing everything in my power to live a real life. I made a commitment. Long, after I progressed, I remember 2007 going into 2008, as I was making my resolutions going into the new Gregorian calendar year. It's another thing. They lie about our calendars, man. They lie about all this stuff. So as I'm going into a new Gregorian calendar year, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, what's my resolution going into this new one? And mine was, I want to get rid of all the fake I can out of my life. I want to live a real life with no fake. And man, I tell you what, it's not easy on this earth to live a life without people trying to push fake on you. So I want to encourage everybody to go out and be real today. Make it easier for the person next to you to be a real person. Don't throw your traditions on them that are not backed by what's real. That's what I got to say.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And, we have come to the conclusion of the show where we need to wrap up. And look at that. The Jay Nolan Rex Sykes Mo Rock event coming up at the One Percenters Club /Transform. So people can go and sign up right now, because why should they do this today, Jay?
70% off. 70% off. Claim your spot now. We're only going to make 50 seats. I'm looking at the site right now. There's only going to be 50 seats, and tickets are going. So you better grab one.
Now, they should know also that this is going to be an online thing, but it's also going to be a live event at some point, too.
Yeah, we're going to do the first one virtual. Once we get past the COVID stuff, guess what? Boom. We're going to announce there's going to be a live in-person. Everybody that had the virtual ticket gets free access to the live in-person event.
So very cool. I can't tell you enough how grateful I am to have you here today, to be able to share your experience and we'll get to that in a moment. That's my book. We'll get to that in a moment. But I'm so happy to have you here to share your expertise and your knowledge and your know-how. And by God, people, if you're listening, this is a fraction, the tiny. This is a snowflake on the top of Mount Everest. That what Jay Nolan brings to the game, and I got tongue-tied here. What Jay Nolan brings and offers to help you transform and make your life different and better. So I much appreciate that, and much appreciate you. Now we can't hear you. Are you muted? Or are you?
I think I might still have that same bat that's in that picture. What do you think?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it looks like it could be.
That was in 1992. Ooh, many years ago.
So Jay, I am so happy that there we go. Jay, I'm so happy to have you here today. Thank you so much for being here. And again, he's got a book coming out. He's got some charities. Please go, if nothing else, watch the show again, because there is the replay. Share the show and help spread the word. And get the book. Sign up for the program with us. We definitely want you to join us. And then look into these causes that Jay is so dedicated to help eradicating orphans and the abuse of women. And I really appreciate it and love you, man.
Love you right back. Thank you for having me, Rex. Thank you, Los Angeles Tribune.
All good. All good. Thank you. And thank you for watching and for commenting. And again, share. That's my book, Life on Your Terms, available at Amazon or from my website, rexsykes.com. Please go and get it. It'll teach you how to powerfully live your life in easy to manage steps, and with a lot of fun and a lot of insight and a lot of awareness that you can grow through. And when you get that book, I'll give you a $497 bonus training on mastery. Jay was talking about the 14,000 hours in school and what you learn and what you don't learn, and what and you'll see in the mastery loop how I address some of those things and how we can use what we know now to master skills, master our mindset, master our emotions, master our behaviors, master our pocketbook, so that we live the kind of life we want victoriously as champions and true victors. So go ahead and get the book. And when you do, when you buy the book from Amazon, the paperback or the hardcover, just put the receipt number there at that website, and we'll get a completely free bonus training worth $497. With that, I am Rex Sykes. I've got some more great guests coming up. We stream live every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. That's 5 p.m. Central time and 6 p.m. Eastern time. And where else it is around the world, I'm not sure. But this is the All Things Rex show right here on the Los Angeles Tribune. And I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for sharing the show, for subscribing to the Tribune, and for helping support our show. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate the love. I appreciate everybody who showed up live and who will show up also in the replays. So take care. Have a great day. And as I always say, if you consider everything a blessing, and when you learn how to do this, when you consider everything a blessing, everything is a blessing. And so celebrate everything.